Fantastic Four. Do 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 do. Don't need no more. Do 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 do. Reed Richards is elastic. Sue can fade from sight. Johnny is the Human Torch. The Thing just loves to fight. Just call the four. Do 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 do. Fantastic Four. Don't need no more.
Okay.
That was great, wasn't it?
I'm afraid Captain X does not know that song, so she let Rogue One sing it on his own, and he got completely carried away by it. So does this reflect your feelings for the Fantastic Four movie? Sorry, I completely forgot the introduction. That song just completely threw me entirely. Sorry, we'll go back to the beginning. So this is Captain X.
And Rogue One. I really like that song because it's from the Marvel Action Hour when the Fantastic Four cartoon. It's very good.
Okay.
Possibly doesn't sound like that all the time, but
it was a very good rendition. Well done, Rogue One. It was beautiful.
It was.
And this is our review of the Fantastic Four, or Fant4stic, as it has been lovingly dubbed by its many, many fans. Now, our history with this movie was, I was so intrigued by this film. So we got it from the library for the grand total of £3, and we're not allowed to keep it.
No,
so I kind of feel like maybe that was quite a good deal.
That was a great deal. Support your local libraries.
Support your local libraries. They're awesome. So yeah. What did you think, Rogue One, about Fantastic Four or Fant4stic? Which are we going to call it?
Fant4stic. Fant4stic. It's a mess. It's a real mess. And it deserves all of its reputation. It's not as bad as everyone says, because it can't be really. Because lots of people are like, "Oh, it's terrible. Oh, it's the end of superhero movie." No, it's not. It's not really. It's not as bad as The Phantom, for example,
that we've just recently retro reviewed. Yeah, it's definitely better than. I would say it's better than Catwoman, definitely, and I'd say it was better than Batman and Robin.
Oh no, it's not better than Batman and Robin. Batman and Robin is
Batman and Robin has the kind of the camp value, but
I mean, this doesn't have any of that. It's so dour.
Okay, so this is a lot of, probably if you've listened to any reviews or if you've seen this film, it's gonna be a lot of the same stuff. Like the first 40 minutes
are really good.
Probably. And actually the strongest part is about the first 5 minutes. Them as little boys, and they kind of get to know each other, and they do a project, and then Reed kind of gets discovered by the Storms.
Yep.
And gets given a scholarship. Yep. And I was into it. I mean, it wasn't like a Marvel movie, but it was fine. Different. It was do you know, it reminded me a bit of Inception, parts of it, kind of how it was shot, kind of like with the very pale blue lighting.
Yeah, I can see that.
And I was really, I was invested, and then you get,
and the characters were fun, and people,
they weren't fun. They were
but
they were enjoyable. They were enjoyable.
Reed and Ben were good.
Yeah, seeds for Sue Storm,
but nothing
romance, but nothing overt.
I mean, I think the closest they get is a sort of brief encounter, shoulder touch at the end. That's about as romantic as they're gonna get. And Human Torch, Johnny Storm is introduced in the worst way possible.
Yeah, I really didn't like that.
It's too fast, too furious for Johnny Storm. And if we could, and oh my god, the way they shoehorn in every reference to Flame before he actually is the Human Torch. Not only does he have the Fireflower from Mario on his wing mirror.
Now explain that for people like me who don't know what that is.
Okay, so a Fireflower is if you play the Super Mario computer games, Mario can get different powers from items, and a Fireflower means that he can shoot flame.
But
there you go. That's a Fireflower.
I would have just looked at that and thought that's a really weird air freshener.
But no, it's not a weird air freshener. It's a clue as to what it's going to become. Then he's wearing a welding mask, a personalised welding mask with flames all over it.
And his car's on fire.
And his car gets on fire. I wonder if all of this means anything. I wonder if we're leading towards something.
Yeah, that was a bit much. I think they probably could have just had the little Mario hint for people like you.
Yes, that would have been.
And maybe the flames on the thing, and then not the. I don't understand why he had to be in a car chase. That they tried to set up this whole.
He's a reckless daredevil.
Yeah, they were.
And that's what they do now.
I think it would have made more sense if he'd just been at the Baxter Institute, because you have Sue Storm is kind of
already there. Doing her thing.
Like, it could have been quite easy, if you want to have it that he's a bit of a maverick, you could have that maybe he does, I don't know, they have an on-site rock climbing thing and he injures himself that way. Like, that would have been
fine. They're doing their research into the quantum gate. It's not a Stargate. Shut up. It's a quantum gate.
Even though it looks like one.
Shut up. It's not Stargate. It's a quantum gate, and we're very clear about all this.
And they find that there's this other world.
They're all very excited about it.
Should we talk about Von Doom?
No. Why should we? The movie doesn't talk about him enough.
It does a bit.
He turns
So
up.
he
fancies Susan.
No, hang on. We need to have his proper introduction. He's like in like Neo's pad at the start of the Matrix, and he's got like what is it with this movie and bad wigs? Like he has a really bad really bad long hair man wig.
He does.
And he looks awful. But his beard isn't longer.
No, his beard never changes. He's very good with beard grooming. Very good.
His beard grooming is amazing. And he apparently set fire to the servers, and he's a free spirit. Flips off the guy who was Mr. Blue in the Hulk movie, seen the Incredible Hulk.
Is that who he was?
Yeah, that's who he was. It's Mr. Blue. He's
nice.
Slightly sinister Gollum man.
Yeah, he is. Yeah. Would have been the leader in the future Hulk movies if they'd gone on and done any more. Probably.
Moment of silence.
Limbering
up, and we watched one of the special features because we thought, well, we know what happens because we'd watched all of the reviews, because no one bothered with a spoiler-free and spoiler review because it was fantastic. Fant4stic. No one bothered. So we knew exactly what was going to happen. So we thought, screw it, let's just watch some of the extras. And
one of the guys, the visual effects guy, is like, yeah, he's a real man inside a rock thing. And I thought, well, that's not quite right.
With the rock stuck to him.
But that's not true. He's just a rock guy.
But then I thought, his eyes, if that was the case, then Jamie Bell would be in the body. Because, and his eyes would be further apart.
That's right, yeah, it doesn't make sense. Don't worry about it. They didn't. No one thought very deeply about it.
I feel like we're thinking through it more than they did.
Of course we are. So yeah, they go to this other place, Planet Zero. It's not the negative zone.
And we're still in
We're still in the good half of the movie.
The good half. The first 40 minutes, they go to Planet Zero. Do you know what? And we've kind of got a bit ahead of ourselves. I love that they kind of have this whole thing that they get it to work. They send a monkey or an ape or whatever it is, and then they get it back safely. And then Mr. Blue turns around and goes, "Great, we're going to get NASA involved, and they're going to send people across." And then Von Doom, because he's Von Doom, gets really angry at this and is like, "Oh, that's rubbish." And then they start talking about, who was the first person who landed on the moon. Of course, they know it's Neil Armstrong, Buzz Aldrin, all of that. Who's the guy who designed the rocket?
And no one knows.
And it's really, that's an interesting point, kind of all these people, they do all this, and then it's not their name that's like the globally known name. So they're all drunk.
They all get drunk, and then they decide, let's go use it. So it's Johnny and Victor and Reed get drunk, and then Reed calls up Ben and drunk and is like, "Hey Ben, come down here, man. We're going to use our thing, and we're going to go through the other side, and I want you to come with us and plant the flag and do the whole thing."
The American flag.
The American flag.
Hells yeah.
Hell yeah, America.
Now, I liked that because it is a bit weird that it is kind of not really the normal people you would send in. I did like that was...
Yeah, that's fine. That's a strong explanation. They were drunk.
And then they go across, they have this mobile setup, because apparently you can do it with an app on your phone to go to other dimensions. And then Sue gets alerted on her computer. Sue and no one else.
No one else apart from Sue.
No one else but Sue.
No one else in the Baxter building.
So then they go over there, playing with goo.
Yep.
Victor put his hand in something.
Yeah, he
put it in something he shouldn't have.
He did. And apparently it reacted, and it was all really weird. And they were doing some scans, and then everything went horribly wrong, and they run away, and then Victor falls in, and oh my god, is he dead? And then everyone else gets to the pods, and they're trying to escape, and they can't quite manage it, and Sue's on the other side trying to get them through, and they get themselves through, and cut to black, and cut back again, and Reed's there, and he's under the wreckage, and he's clawing himself through.
That was I liked that.
And
that
Johnny's
was
on
really
fire,
cool.
and he's clawing himself towards Ben because he can hear Ben calling for his help. So he's coming, he's trying to save him.
And it's shot, so you only see kind of his head and his shoulders the whole time. So you assume his whole body is moving with him. You just assume, because that's what normally happens. And then
he turns around and he looks, and he's actually stretched himself that far. So
like 25 feet. He's like stretched out. And that was cool.
And that was cool. And he can't quite cope with it. And it's a nice bit of body horror. And he kind of goes, "Ah!" and falls unconscious. Out. And then he wakes up and there's more screaming because he's all stretched out across all these, across this medical bed. And everyone's testing him and asking him to do things. And Johnny's constantly on fire. And Sue keeps turning invisible and visible. And the thing's trapped in some rock. And she's trying to escape.
Yeah.
And we haven't said, and the dad, Franklin Storm, a.k.a. Reggie Cathy, a.k.a.
Who's amazing.
This guy.
But he is amazing.
He might even be...
He is amazing. He is one of the few people who is good throughout.
Yes, he's pretty stellar.
What he says has nothing to do with what's happening, but it sounds so important.
So,
and it's still good.
And it's still good.
It's still good at this stage.
And they're at this government facility called Area 57.
Why can't it be 51?
Why can't it be?
Do you know, I have a feeling that someone just wrote 1 and they did that. You know that thing where they give 1 a little head?
Yeah.
So it could be a 7, and then no one cared enough to go, oh, sorry, no, it should be Area 51.
No one cared. No
one cared enough
no
to
one
go,
cared enough.
sorry, sweetie, you just need to get rid of that top part of the 1. Sorry, no.
But no one.
It's 51.
No one cares about this movie.
No.
So then Reed decides to escape, which he does, and he escapes and he goes on the run because he can't quite cope. Well, not that he can't quite cope, he just decides to go on the run. And then we cut to 1 year later, which, by the way, Fact Fans, is the crucial point when they did all the reshoots and changed everything.
Allegedly, there was meant to be a Fantastic car in it, which is something that the Fantastic Four has. That's been basically like a magic car, like a 60s space car.
But it flies. It's like a flying car. It's like if you've seen Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., they have a car that flies. The Fantastic Four have one too.
It's kind of the same.
Also, they had one in the Fantastic Four and the Rise of the Silver Surfer. It's like that. It's that car.
It's that car there.
It's that car.
So we don't know. I mean, I would really love to see the original cut, because up until that 1 year later, I'm like, I am invested. Is it Avengers? No, it's not Avengers. But then nothing's Avengers anymore. So
no.
I was just like,
it's not really. No, it's
good though.
It
was
solid, and then it all just goes to pot. And you can tell as well. You can tell when the reshoot scenes are happening, because you can either look at Kate Mara's hair,
which it is a terrible wig. Like, I am not, I'm not a hair expert, but she goes from having kind of very dark roots and like blonde at the end to full blonde. Now, like a wig, I know wigs are not easy to do, but you have millions of dollars, and it makes it really obvious if you're suddenly changing a woman's hair.
From scene to scene, almost.
From scene to scene. Like, literally, you can work it out. You
Yeah.
can work it out. It's like original shoots, reshoots, original shoots,
At
reshoots.
one point, she goes from one room to another, and you can tell.
Her hair is
And
changed.
her hair has changed completely. And this is in the earlier part of the movie, when for some reason they decided to give Reggie Cathy another awesome speech to say. And you just go...
well, they wanted
what?
to get the most out of him, because he was
Clearly.
the only, like, core good.
Clearly. And also you can tell because Mr. Blue keeps chewing gum.
Yeah.
And Reed's on the run, and he's decided to use slinkies to help with his problem.
Because
by putting him on a
apparently he
containment
can't
suit.
control his stretchiness, which I think is absolute hogwash.
But hey, but we don't. Yeah. So he's
We
on the
don't
run like Ethan Hunt in the Mission Impossible movies. Or, yeah, like Ethan Hunt in Mission Impossible 5, I guess.
And I've got to say, someone's criticised the special effects for when he changes his face. So he looks like one person, so that he obviously can, not get arrested.
And wander around and buy parts.
His face changes back, and so I was like, oh, it's some of the worst special effects I've ever seen. Like, the effects in The Mummy are better. And I'm like, well, they're not amazing. It's not like Gollum effects. But I'm like, it wasn't
that bad either. So don't worry about that. However, worry about what's about to happen, because we've had all this, and it's all been very nice, and there's been a lot of nice character stuff, but now we've really, someone at 20th Century Fox is watching the clock, and clearly it's time for some kind of action sequence. Now,
they shouldn't have cut those 3 action scenes.
Maybe they shouldn't, but we don't know what they did and didn't do. We've no idea, really.
Well, no, it was officially published that they cut 3 action scenes.
Okay, so they cut 3 action scenes, but they decided they need some kind of action. So we're going to call in Dr. Doom.
Yeah, so they send the thing, because when Reed was escaping, he came and found Ben and thought he would help him escape too, and then he saw he was like this rock guy and was like freaked out and ran away.
But he freaked out and ran away and said, don't worry, I'm going to go away and I'm going to work on a cure, which is what he's been doing.
And then 1 year later, which is just, oh my god.
And 1 year later, plus Slinkies, the army track him down thanks to Sue Storm, because she's really good at patterns and stuff.
Yeah. I don't know why she waited a year.
No one knows. And then Reed likes Captain Nemo, which got established earlier, so he's been using Captain Nemo as his sort of alias. Fantastic. And so the army come in and they attack him and they take him hostage, and the Thing knocks him out, and they have a nice conversation about how they're friends and stuff. And
that was quite a good scene. That was quite a good scene.
But they've been working at Area 57 to try and get a second quantum gate activated. But
allegedly to help them lose their powers, which is not going to happen, because evil army guys are evil.
Well, yeah. Military applications, blah, 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 blah. And the Human Torch wants to use his powers for that, and his dad doesn't want him to do that, and blah, 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 and Sue doesn't want to do any of it.
All story threads that go nowhere.
Basically. Then, they use the Quantum Gate, they go through with a bunch of people who aren't the Fantastic Four go through, and the other guys are watching from the other side, and Doom turns up, and looks like a discount Power Rangers villain, but that's fine, I guess.
He looks awful.
He does look terrible.
He even looks better in the original Fantastic Four. Like, in both other movies, he looks better.
Yeah, well, he looks more like Dr. Doom, for a start. And Yeah.
I just have a feeling that he, like, allegedly he was not in the movie again. Like, maybe he was in, like, a little snippet at the end, maybe in the credits.
Maybe, yeah.
But, because clearly he was going to be Von Doom later on. He was going to be that guy. So they probably would have had, like, a little Easter egg maybe somewhere later on to show that he was still alive on Planet Zero and, you know, he was going to come back or something.
But
so
somebody wanted a fight or an
someone
scenario.
at Fox wanted a boss fight. So they pulled Victor out. He is pulled back onto Earth and he actually goes, like, psycho.
Yeah, he's insane for no real reason that we can understand.
And we don't understand. Like,
No
it
one
is
understands.
brutal. Like, literally he makes a guy's head explode.
Well, multiple guys. He's just wandering around the base, destroying
and there's just
everyone's
blood
heads.
everywhere. And this is a 12. Like, I would not be happy if I was a parent and I'd gone. Well, obviously I wouldn't be happy at all because we'd seen the movie, but
I wouldn't be happy.
I mean, we've heard one reviewer. The theory was that the people that obviously set the age limits got so bored they actually fell asleep by that stage.
It's possible, but
and didn't see. Like, it's brutal. Like, literally, you have people, their heads are exploding outwards.
Yes.
And you see that, like, a guy's got like a hazmat suit on, and he's Mr. Blue. Oh no, Mr. Blue died, and he's like, and then he said, and you see, like, it's brutal.
Well,
I would not be happy for a 12-year-old to see that, because that could give you friggin' nightmares.
Yes, but
it's out of nowhere, and it doesn't match. Nowhere else is there blood and guts.
Nowhere else. True.
Nowhere else.
They saved it, but
just this bit.
But it's
and
all right.
It's so left field, and then it becomes goofy boss fight.
It does. So he decides he's going to go back and he's going to, destroy their world to fuel his world. It's really unclear.
Okay,
I don't know what his plan was.
I think I understood it by the end. Would you like me to explain what I think they were trying to get across?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so Von Doom
Yeah.
Felt a connection with the planet when he was reaching towards the goo before anything happened.
Yeah, that's right, yeah. Then he fell into the goo.
No. He reached his hand into the goo.
Yes, he did.
I think there was some kind of communication going on, and then the planet just went mental, because when you first go to Planet Zero, it's green. When they go back, it's yellow.
Yeah.
I think that is because Victor changed the planet. I think it's probably like a responsive living planet.
Oh.
Okay, so that's what I think was going on. I think it was like a symbiotic relationship. So then Von Doom falls off the cliff and he ends up falling into the goo, and he's like, his hazmat suit is bonded to his body, which is a cool idea.
Which
but
is
it
why
looks
he looks
awful. You can't see his mouth. Yeah. His eyes are really awful. He looks like someone stuck trash bags on him. So then he's left on Planet Zero for a whole year. We don't know how he survives, other than him saying the planet kept me alive. So there's clearly a symbiotic relationship between him and the planet.
Apparently.
So he's happy. He's in Planet Zero. He's made it yellow. Maybe it's his favourite colour. I don't know.
I hope so.
And then these idiots from the other planet, because he's a loner, he doesn't get on with people, blah, 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 all of that stuff. He clearly doesn't like people. He clearly does not like people. Yeah. So he was probably quite happy on his own in Planet Zero, making everything yellow. And then all of the people come back, and he's like, they're going to come back. They're going to try and steal my energy from my planet now. And I'm not happy with that. They're going to turn it into weapons. Maybe they're going to come and they're going to attack me with them. I'm not happy with that. So he goes to the people. He acts all injured.
Yes.
Because I don't think he is injured. I think that was put on.
Right.
Then they take him back to Earth. He has a chat with Mr. Blue, and he basically turns around and go, "You're already destroying your planet. I am worried that you will destroy mine. So if your planet has to die so mine can live, fair game."
Yeah.
So I think that's what it is.
Good. Okay. Excellent.
Okay.
So anyway, he goes back and he uses the quantum gate, and they will follow him through, and he's created a worm.
No, they don't follow him through. They don't. They get sucked in. And all four of them happen to be there. The only person who chooses to go through is Johnny Storm. Yeah. Everybody else, it's just, we're going to get sucked in, and then Sue puts a force field around them, and they go through. There is not a choice. There is not, apart from Johnny, who is like, I'm going in there and I'm going to kill Von Doom, because, shock horror, he kills their dad.
They kills Franklin Storm's dad. Team Dad is down! Mr. Reggie Cathy himself.
And even as he's dying, he's giving a little speech. Look after each other. And you're like, okay, Dad.
I feel it. I felt it right here.
In the feels. Right in the feels. So then they're there, and Von Doom can control the planet.
Apparently.
Which should be cool, but looks awful.
Yeah, well, this whole part of the movie looks pretty bad. Oh, and in order to give us some real world, peril, there's a street near the secret base, this highway that keeps getting wrecked.
But we have no connection.
To any
we
of
have
these
no
people.
connection. Like, I think it would have been really cool.
No connection at all.
If-
Like Frank. What about Frank, the guy who keeps training, Johnny the Human Torch? He was at that base. Did he die? Did he live?
I don't even know who Frank is.
Exactly.
You see, I think it would have been really interesting if rather than, because they're always in the lab, I think that's the problem, is they're always in the lab. I think it would have been really interesting if the military had been a little bit more lax and gone, and they were like, look, you need to give us some shore leave.
A public
We
race.
won't show our powers, will be very controlled. Obviously, the Thing can't go anywhere because that
He
whole
can
thing...
wear an overcoat and a hat like he does in the comics.
No, we're in a realistic, gritty world. Doesn't work. They've
Overcoat
dark
and a hat.
knighted. They've dark knighted it. No, have like little Bobby Jr. or whatever it is, and there's a little family, and they look after them, and maybe Johnny shows off like they can't like the barbecue or something, and then you can have him going psh, like that. That would, a human element, like emotion.
Gosh.
And then
Feelings.
you could have had that, the hole is expanding and it's getting towards the house. And I don't know, just something so there's actual peril, because they destroy a huge part of the earth. Like, okay, fine, the whole world is in peril, great. But he destroys like an entire city-sized block that is now
He destroys
a
a
crater.
base that's basically a crater and part of the highway. So they all fight together and they all try and do it
And they all
individually.
hit him separately.
And it doesn't work out, so they decide that they've got to...
Work together. But it's okay. Reed has a plan.
So they use
Jump
Reed's,
cut.
So they use Reed's plan. Reed's plan is, and pay attention because this may shock you. They're going to turn the Thing invisible, get him really close to Doom, and have him hit him. That is the crux of Reed's plan.
It's not really that they hit him one at a time. It's just it's closer together.
I
It's more
guess.
like I hit him with one, and then she hits him with one, and then Johnny will send a firebolt, but Sue will protect it. And you're like, but hang on, if she's protecting it, how does the oxygen get in so that it doesn't
Doesn't
go out?
Go out.
Yeah.
No one knows. So Doom ends up being sucked into the vortex of fun, and then he's gone and dead, presumably, which is pretty harsh.
He gets dematerialized. What? It's not that. Officially now they've cancelled the sequel,
They have,
but they didn't even publish it. Where was it? They published it on their
they mentioned it in a
like a newsletter, like a staff newsletter.
Not a staff newsletter, but just they quietly cancelled it, very quietly off the books now.
Which I kind of think is a shame in some regards, because they have really good actors
They do, particularly
locked into probably about 3 or 4 film contracts.
Yeah, particularly with like Michael B. Jordan blowing up for Creed and stuff. You think you'd be like, well, just based on the strength of his reputation alone, we could still make money.
But I don't think they're going to try again. We'll come to future speculation. So then they have like it doesn't really make sense. The whole last 20 minutes, I am fine with the film, even with all of Kate Mara's hair changing and the wig parting, moving.
And the gum.
And the gum, which I
chewing.
love so much. Like, as soon as I spotted it, I was like looking for when Mr. Blue was chewing.
Wow.
I was like waiting. So I honestly quite enjoyed the film up until the last 20 minutes. The whole boss fight end is really ridiculous. I quite enjoyed it just because it's such an oddity. Like, you watch it and it is just like Movie Loaf. It's just such a hodgepodge. It's like a Frankenstein. What I would really like to do is to see Josh Trank's original movie and then watch it again. Like, I would really like to see that. Because the first 40 minutes, which are clearly Josh Trank's part and contribution, I would really like to see what his payoff was.
Yeah.
And I would have even more liked to see it with those 3 action sequences. They don't really work together. They kind of work in pairs.
Oh, and we haven't even mentioned the hilarious bit at the end. So after they've saved the world, the
oh
generals,
my goodness,
the generals get them round a table with pastries and some croissants,
which no one eats.
No one eats.
Like, why? Does the Thing can eat? Can't he?
The Thing can eat.
Why wasn't he munching down on those? Like, he could grab the basket and just be munching that down.
I think he would.
I'd have watched that. The Thing eating pastries.
So they're having pastries, or not having pastries. They're having a meeting with pastries, and the generals are like, "Well, we want you to do all this, and we greatly appreciate it."
And there is some awful audio dubbing.
There's some terrible ADR.
Like, literally, they changed what this guy said, and they're showing a shot of his mouth that does not match at all.
It's hilarious.
It's not even like, because they have the annoying thing is they have older over the shoulder shots. They have that, and they didn't Use it.
Never mind. If we'd done that, we wouldn't have seen the pastries.
That's true.
But then Reed says, no, forget it. We want our own place. We want our own building, all that kind of thing. And you're thinking, oh, good. They're going to go to the Baxter building in New York and we're going to have the traditional Fantastic Four setup. No, we're not. No, we're not. So anyway, Fant4stic is not great. Don't bother.
But it's not like...
But it's not terrible either.
It's not terrible.
Well,
no, it's not terrible.
It's just average.
The beginning is good, the middle is okay, and the ending is bad. Like, it gets worse as it goes along.
So really, I mean, I don't know what they're going to do with it in the future. I would imagine nothing until they have to do another one of these.
I have a horrible feeling they're going to be too stubborn to go to Marvel.
Well, obviously. They're just going to do another one several years from now when they hope we've all forgotten. But we won't forget because we have long memories.
It's a movie that came from the wrong place. It came from a panic, we need to make another one.
We need to make another one. We'll trust this guy. He seems new. He just did a movie about superpowers that seemed to go really well. And we'll trust it and we'll sign off on it. Then they saw the movie and went, oh my God, what have we done?
I don't think it's awful. Like, I think there are a lot worse comic book movies. I think Catwoman is a lot worse. I think that Batman and Robin, although...
Batman and Robin's better.
Although Batman and Robin is easier to watch...
Because it's time to chill.
Because it's so camp, I actually feel like Fantastic Four is minimally better. How it's... The first part, anyway. The first part is so much better than the ending.
Nothing could say
but
that.
I quite enjoyed this film.
Ugh.
I've had a morbid curiosity with it, though.
Ugh.
Haven't I, though? I've had a big morbid curiosity. I wish they'd just let Josh Trank do what he wanted to do.
Yeah, but
or not give him the projects in the first place. Clearly
they got scared.
Yeah. Well, they should be if that's what they produce.
Yeah, it's the interactions and the family element that make the Fantastic Four work.
There was no family because that's the problem. Like,
because they're a family first.
But
Marvel's
they're not. They're the first family, yeah. And there was no family apart from Ben and Reed at the beginning. There's no family vibe at all.
No.
And there's a lot of storylines that are started, like, you know, Ben is mad at Reed, and it just kind of gets resolved. Like,
fizzled out.
He just stops being openly antagonistic.
Yeah. And it's just like, okay, fine, we're a team now, let's go.
Yeah, we punched Doom together, so now we're best buds.
Now we're besties again. Woohoo!
But yeah, I mean, it's not terrible. Would I watch it again? Yeah, I'd watch it again. We get to ratings.
Let's rate it.
So I'm gonna go. I mean, if it was just based on the beginning, it would be a 3.5. The middle is like a 2.5. The ending is like a 1.
Yeah.
So I'm going to average it out to 2 out of 5 for me. I just think it's the ending and the middle really let it down. That's obviously, you know, where he got booted off. But I mean, up until the last 20-ish minutes, I was fine. I was happy enough. I was engaged. I wasn't in pain.
No, I suppose I wasn't in pain either.
Because there are some painful movies. Like The Phantom was a bit painful to watch. Like, I didn't look at the clock at any point during the film.
Yeah, see, I did. So
I gave it 2. What are you going to give it then?
Well, I did look at the clock. But that was just because I was basically keeping a timer because I'd heard that it was about an hour in.
Yeah, like we were very conscious of like, when certain things were going to happen. Like one time the screen went blank.
And we thought,
and we were like, 1 year later, and then no, it wasn't. So it was kind of funny.
So I was sort of watching the clock for things like, you know, the 1 hour mark because I've heard that like the first hour was really good, but it is pretty good, but then the rest is not. And that's kind of true, except it's more like 40 minutes. But I don't know, like maybe it's a bit unfair to give it a 1. I suppose a 1.5.
1.5.
1.5 because I mean I didn't. Yeah.
1.5. I think that's
maybe 1.5.
Because I like it more than you, so that kind of fits it.
Yeah, and I think 1.5 is probably fair. I'm really sorry. You know, I like the people in it, but you know, don't worry, Michael B. Jordan. I'll go see you in Creed, and I'll really enjoy you in that. I'm sure. Yeah.
So I mean, if you are, I would recommend look into the history of the film first. Because it's really interesting, like watching it with everything I know, because I became a bit obsessed with this, and I looked into a lot of the stuff that was going on, and it's really fun for me because I'm going, oh, that's when that happened. Oh, that's when that happened, and oh, look, there's a wig. Like, I really quite enjoyed like watching it because so many times movies are so well made now, you don't notice the gears
and the joints.
Oh, this movie is like watching a patchwork quilt movie. It's just amazing. I quite enjoyed the actual being able to see
when everything went wrong,
the horrible mechanics of it. Like, I really enjoyed it. But there we go. I you know, it's a morbid interest in it, shall we say? But I mean, I wouldn't say you had to watch it at all.
Don't do it.
Maybe out of morbid curiosity, which is pretty much what we went in there with.
That's why we did it.
But yeah,
Because we care.
Because we care, and we wanted to just see it because we just heard so much.
Yep, and now we've done that.
So
Hurrah!
2 stars out of 5 and 1.5 out of 5. So I think we've covered all of it, really, haven't we?
Yes, we're kind of done.
We're kind of done. Okay, so it's goodbye from Captain X.
And it's goodbye from Rogue One.